Belinda, good to see you, and thanks again for talking with us about the employment picture in Cheltenham and Gloucestershire. What's the state of the job market following the end of the government's support programs in October?
Well, it's very interesting what's happening at the moment is there's a huge number of vacancies being advertised, and companies are finding it difficult to find the right skilled staff for their roles. We've seen almost record numbers coming in of vacancies coming in through September and October.
And nationally, there have been staff shortages across a variety of sectors. How do things look here?
Well, here in Gloucestershire, the staff shortages are reflecting of the same as they are nationally. There are some sectors, of course, such as care sectors. Companies are having real difficulty finding care staff, and that's only going to get harder as the regulations change for if staff are being injected with their vaccinations or not. Hospitality, there's a huge number of hospitality and retail vacancies, and that's reflected in the sheer number of roles that we've got advertised on GlosJobs at the moment. And I was looking at driving roles yesterday. We've got several hundred driving roles currently listed, a variety of skilled roles like forklift to supermarket delivery, etc. So it really is across the county. There are there's a huge shortage of people going into these roles, but it's not just that. It seems to be that people are either wanting to stay in their current role, or anecdotally, I don't have any actual evidence for this, but anecdotally, I've heard of a good number of people who are changing their working practices. So some people have taken early retirement or are changing their roles to work part-time instead of full-time. And just really with the whole pandemic, they've just made the decision to make some different work-life balance choices. And I think that's playing out too.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the effect of maybe Brexit as well. So it's quite a mixture of both in the sector and, career choices and the pandemic and Brexit. So it's a combination of things, right?
They're all coming together at the same
They're
time,
all coming
of course.
together. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
and of course, the other thing is demand is increasing now. So companies want to expand. They've maybe laid off a few staff or have made cutbacks. And as demand increases, they need more staff in order to fulfill the requirements. And that's where it's having difficulty. It's affecting businesses that are trying to grow.
And what are your views of the Chancellor's budget and its effect on the job market?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that I picked up from that. Is the first thing is the for retail and hospitality businesses, there's for next year 2022 to 23, he's brought in a 50% rates cut, which will help in particular, because I think it's up to £11,000. That will help companies, particularly kind of medium and smaller businesses that are in the hospitality and retail sectors. It will help them with their ongoing overheads. So that should give them more leeway to employ new staff. There's the increase in the national minimum wage, living wage, up to £9.50, which again, of course, is something that's admirable, and really as a nation we should be increasing the minimum wage. However, that could well, for companies that do pay minimum wage or near minimum wage, that could cause a bit of a headache for some of the, again, small and micro businesses. And then the third thing I noticed was the universal credit. So the Chancellor has obviously taken away the £20 a week that he gave.
Universal credit. Yeah.
Yes, claiming UC in universal credit in during the pandemic, but then he has increased or he's put in a taper in place, so people who are working and claiming universal credit will benefit from that. So he in the budget, Rishi Sunak was trying to do some things that will help encourage people to work, but also help the employers.
So he gives with one hand and takes away with the other in a way, but
Yes, yes,
still there's a bit of a balancing act for the
yes,
chancellor on that.
yes.
So, but in the run up to Christmas and for the winter ahead, what do you think the employment outlook here in Cheltenham and Gloucestershire is going to look like?
Well, I speak to quite a lot of recruitment agents and recruiters, and they're generally finding it. People are having to work harder to find the right staff to fill their roles, and so companies are having to be a bit more ingenious in finding people. So I think that with the outlook for the winter, we've obviously got Christmas coming up. There are a lot of temporary vacancies, but the outlook for the winter is good for the businesses. There seems to be growth going on, but really it's just a question of finding those right people to fill those roles. Something's interesting is I did a session recently on transferable skills, and more and more so, it seems to be the case that employers are looking for people with the right potential rather than necessarily with the right skill set, so that you can take someone on who's got the right attitude or the right basic skills and then train them up into the right role. So I think as long as employers get that idea that they can do that, that they can be a bit more wide thinking in their recruitment, then
So be more flexible in their approach
right.
in order to avoid the shortages during the winter. Is that what you'd say?
Yes,
Right.
So instead of saying I really need a legal secretary who needs all these skills, say I can recruit someone who's been a PA, who's got a fair number of the skills, but we could train into the legal role or whatever, something like that.
Right. Great. Okay. Well, Belinda Wilson, director of GlosJobs and GlosInfo, thank you for your time today, as always.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.